Hello and welcome to episode 19 of the Nintendo Review Podcast. As always, I'm here with Greg and Lee. I forgot your names for a minute. I'm on my own with Greg and Lee. How are you feeling? It's Halloween today. Are you the kind of people to kind of get into the spirit of Halloween? Do you dress up? Do you make cakes? Do you watch films? Do you get into the spirit of it? Greg, I presume, I kind of would say no, but I've got a feeling you might actually get particularly excited about Halloween because you're morbid.
I never really used to be, I used to love, we used to get wee boxes of fireworks and stuff when I was younger, and that was great, but I sort of...
That's not Halloween, that's 5th of November, that's in a few days, mate.
Well, we sort of do it Halloween over here. I married into, a crazy family, so they're absolutely mental for Halloween.
Have you learned to love it?
I'm getting there. My son for the last 2 months has been singing "This Is Halloween" constantly.
Yeah, we were singing that today. We were singing that this morning.
Yeah, so finally today's going to be right.
And I'm out of the loop here. What's "This Is Halloween"?
Nightmare Before Christmas.
Oh, okay. I will look it up.
Have you never seen it?
No.
Right, stop the podcast. Watch it now.
I only seen it for the first time a couple of years ago, so it took me a while.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's decent.
Oh my god. Let's just quit. Let's just end this podcast now. It's one of the greatest films of all time. But you should watch it. What about you, Lee? Do is it the Taiwanese celebrate Halloween anyway, or?
The only kind of Halloween thing they do is for the kind of schools we call them bushy bands, and we got a lot of school kids, so they do trick or treating around the local area, but they preload basically. The school goes to the shops before the event to preload them with candies and sweets. And then they just follow a set route and they trick or treat, they sing trick or treat and give them. So I don't want to be doing it, but I haven't got much of a choice. I get paid to do it. So this year I was dressed up as Kylo Ren. I got the mask, I can cover myself over, I'm tall enough, a nice black cape and a lightsaber.
And no one will recognise you.
Exactly.
Should I know who that is?
Star Wars. This is
Oh my
terrible.
God,
I don't know the
Star Wars.
Halloween stuff, and Greg doesn't know Star Wars.
This is what Star. You know what? Let's get onto something you will hopefully do know something a little bit about. Let's get onto games. Let's get onto the news. So it's been a quiet news week. We're ramping up big time. Not only has a Smash Direct been announced for tomorrow that we'll chat about later and in another podcast or video, but there's been a slew of other sort of games that have been announced too, related to Halloween. Capcom. We all wanted it. We kind of expected it. We were just waiting for it to happen. Resident Evil 4 is coming to the Switch. One of the greatest games of all time. Definitely one of the best games in the GameCube. And we've brought it up many times. It's very good that that's coming. But they also announced the first Resident Evil and Resident Evil 0, the GameCube exclusive at the time. That was part of the Capcom 5, wasn't it? Resident Evil 0?
Yeah,
can't remember. So amazing. Personally, I'm like, where's Code Veronica? Where's 2? Bring them all over. But whatever. Great news. Very much looking forward to them. Hopefully Resident Evil 4, just get Resident Evil 4 out first and save the other two for next Halloween or whatever, I don't care. So Studio Wildcard also announced Ark Survival Evolved, which is like a first-person sort of dinosaur shooting game. Don't really know too much about it. Weirdly, I actually already thought that was out, and unless this is a sequel.
No, it's that very one, and the thing is, it's been you can pre-order it from so many like Amazon and Base or whatever else you use for ages. It's been there for 40 quid, and they've been sitting on it for whatever reason, and November the 30th is the big day. It didn't review well on Xbox and PlayStation 4, but it looks like a solid premise where it seems as if you're grouping in teams, and then with 4 of you and building up your RPG elements, just a bit like Monster Hunter, and you can have rideable dinosaurs, then you're fighting against invaders from other teams.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. So we all sort of knew about it, but we'd never really it hadn't been sort of officially announced, I think, but now it has. Okay, that's fair enough. Greg, I presume, like me, that has no appeal to you whatsoever.
In for Resident Evil, not in for Ark Survival Evolved.
Awesome. So I think last week we announced that Trine 3 was coming to the Switch, which is great, and it's a third-person version. But then a week later they announced Trine 4, which feels a little bit sort of counter-intuitive. But they announced Trine 4. Good news. 2 Trine games coming out next year. Bring it on. Oh, and another horror-themed game that's been announced. It is the full theme of this episode. Spooky. What did you call the episode, Lee?
I'll defer that to maybe later.
Spooky coin sound. And so basically years ago they were making a game for the PlayStation Vita called Yushiro, and it got scrapped. And they're
it was actually the PSP. It's
PSP.
PSP. It was it's 10 years ago now, Darren, since they
oh boy,
they were working on that game. Haven't finished it. And the thing is, I've forgotten his name. The head of Level 5 has said that this horror RPG Oshiro hasn't even been started game code wise, but they've gone through the planning phase and they're ready to start.
Oh, okay, so
it's a ways off.
So that's fine. But so next year, so we're like a horror RPG again. It's all good news, all very good news. Level 5, great developer.
Yeah.
So this is a game I'm particularly looking forward to. I kind of, when I was younger, I used to play a lot of sort of like computer games, Amiga, Atari ST, PC games, and the games I loved on them were the sort of the strategy games, like Theme Park and things like that, and Syndicate, using a mouse, those kind of games. And they're the games that I miss from console games. And sometimes they port over, sometimes they do it well, sometimes they don't. The Switch, it seems a perfect platform. And then, over the past sort of couple of months, there's been loads of them. Cities, the Civ 6 is coming out soon, Into the Breach came out. And so they're releasing more. Roller Coaster Tycoon, like a Switch-specific version. They announced this. I don't know if you remember, they did the investor program where anybody could invest and they needed to raise a certain amount of money, but you had to go directly through it and you own shares in the game. Don't know if you remember them doing that, but that's how they did it.
Yeah, that does ring a bell. It is Roller Coaster Tycoon they did it with, yeah?
Yeah, so it was this game. So they needed to reach a certain threshold, but they didn't go through Kickstarter, but it's the same principle. But you actually owned the money, so it's more like Seeders, if you know those kind of sites. Maybe I'm getting off on a bit of a tangent. Ultimately, it's coming out in November. I'm very excited. Americans, unfortunately, have to wait until next year, which is a shame, didn't quite make any sense, but it's coming out, cannot wait, hope it's a great port. I'm looking forward to Civ 6 as well. All these strategy games, I'm very excited about the Switch. Do you guys, play these? Obviously you bought Into the Breach, Lee. It's not full-on strategy, they're those kind of games, kind of Greg, Roller Coaster Tycoon, surely you got fond memories of that, surely.
Yawn.
Yeah. Oh, yawn! Oh, yeah. I don't know, I thought you had a stroke, to be honest, in saying yes, but yawn! Oh, God. Lee,
I didn't play too much on the Amiga, but I am looking forward, and it's one of those things that there's a few of them come out now. I'm gonna wait and see which one is the best of the lot and get that one. Civ 6 is looking pretty good at the moment, though.
It looks amazing. If it's a good port, I'm definitely getting it. And if this is good, I'm getting this as well. These are the kind of games that I'm really in the mood for. And last on the sort of like potential new games, although it's kind of expected. I mean, I actually deleted this from the news. I already thought it confirmed, but it wasn't. But basically, Pete Hines from Bethesda said Fallout 76, unsurprisingly, is definitely not coming to Switch. It basically said it's too big, it can't handle it. But he did say the next Wolfenstein is coming to the Switch, so Wolfenstein Youngblood. Great news. Doom, the new Doom's coming as well. It's kind of obvious, isn't it? Wolfenstein 2's on the Switch. Obviously the next one is, so it's no surprise, but it is really great to hear. I still haven't bought Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch, and you both have. You both played it. You both pretty positive about it? Yeah? You finished it as well, didn't you, Greg?
Pretty decent. Yeah, finished it quite recently. Yeah, thought it was really
pretty
good.
Decent for you. It's like a 5 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I will say, related to that, I tried, for some reason I just randomly went to play Doom online last night. Couldn't get a single player.
That's bad, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a shame that, well, I suppose the lucky have sold it then. I got nothing else to do, but I did prefer Doom over Wolfenstein. I think Greg and I talked about it before, some of the stealth elements in Wolfenstein just don't stack up to what the game is.
Yeah.
When it's that run and gun manic blowing everything up, it works well, but when it turns into a stealth trying to do something that GoldenEye did years ago, it just can't pull it off as well.
Yeah, Doom was just so exciting. It's so simple, arcade, kind of like pure experience, and I loved it. But I kind of expected it anyway. I played the first Wolfenstein on the PS4, and I didn't love it. I didn't love it, not as much as Doom. So it doesn't surprise me that you feel that about the sequel. But saying that, I still want to play it if it ever comes down in price, or there's ever a lull in games. But let's be honest, there's about 30-40 games coming out a week. There's never going to be a lull. So it needs to come down in price for me to get that. In other news, which most people wouldn't even talk about, but I'm obsessed with this game, so let's talk about it, is Mario Tennis Aces, the greatest tennis game ever created. Incredible game. Just announced a new character, Koopa Paratrooper. We knew he was coming, so he's the character for November. And he looks good fun. He's a technical player. There's not loads of technical players, and I actually quite like the technical ones. So I was pleased that he's a technical player. Are you two still loving tennis, or are you a bit bored of it now, or how are you feeling about it?
Well, I said tried to play Doom last night. When I couldn't get a match in that, I put Mario Tennis on, so I had a couple of games of that, and still really loved it. Like, I couldn't remember if I'd actually got the character for this month, but I have. It was Birdo. So yeah, I'll probably have it on again tomorrow to get Paratrooper.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Lee? We had our first game. A couple of nights ago.
Apart from there was this really weird, I know this is the distance, but we had 1 bar of connection. I thought, this is going to be dreadful. And for 1 bar of connection, it still played pretty well. But now and again, there was this little glitch of not even half a second of lag before you hit the ball, and then the ball just jumped forward, and I didn't know where the ball was going. That happened a little bit too often. And when it happened to you, I won some points, and when it happened to me, you won a lot of points.
yeah. It was borderline perfect. Like, it didn't stutter or slow down or anything like that. It was just a tiny moments of just where, you'd press left and stop, and it would just run a little bit more. It's just little things like that. It's a bit of a shame, but what a game. What a great game. Although I thought we was getting new tournaments every month, but this same the online co-op things seems to be the same one for about 6 weeks.
I thought it had a finish date. Yeah, I thought that Boo one had a finish date, and it should have been finished by now. Or maybe I'm obviously wrong.
I don't know, but I thought it's every month, but it's been over a month now. But I hope the next one's not as dull as this one, to be honest. I think it's really boring.
It says it's available until October 11th, so it should have been wrapped up by now. I don't know
which would have been a month, but it's still going on.
It's still going on. That's strange. Yeah.
Don't know what's going on there. We'll see. So I don't know if you guys have seen Castlevania on Netflix. The first season have just released the second season. I haven't actually seen it. I'm very excited. Meant to be amazing. Lee, have you tucked into it?
I've watched the first 20 minutes, and very recently actually, and it's looking pretty good from what I can see so far. And that's just the first season. The second season has had double the budget, double the show, double everything. Apparently the second season is taking it to the next level. So if it's anywhere as near as good as what I've seen so far, it's going to be brilliant. I'm looking forward to sitting down with that very soon.
What about you, Greg? Do you have Netflix?
Sometimes, I subscribe every now and again. Like, if there's something that's coming onto it that my wife wants to watch or something, then we'll subscribe for a couple of months and then let it go for a while. I don't really watch that much TV, to be honest.
What about this, video game sort of content? Castlevania, you like it? So.
I think probably a year or two ago, whenever Castlevania first came out on Netflix, I think I did sample it for maybe about 10 or 15 minutes, and I just never really get into it. And that's not the sort of thing my wife would watch with me or anything so I just never really give it a chance, I don't think.
Well, the producer of it, Adi Shankar, has said that he's working with an iconic Japanese gaming company to adapt one of their iconic video games series into a series. And everyone is saying it's Zelda.
Well, apparently The Wrap, which is an online magazine, have some inside scoop. It's only rumour, Darren, but apparently they have an inside scoop. It's going to be Zelda.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously there was a Netflix rumour a few years ago now about the live action Zelda that they were developing. So maybe they realised maybe it doesn't work as live action, maybe the Castlevania thing, maybe more an anime style version of Zelda. Would you watch that, Greg?
You'd have to give it a go, wouldn't you?
Exactly, yeah. It was a rhetorical question, of course. But everyone, like I say, I cannot believe I've not seen this Castlevania, but life's too busy. But I definitely will watch it. But everyone is saying it is amazing. So if you can make an amazing Zelda anime, then that's good. And they need to wait for me anyway to make the live action Zelda. They need for me to sort my career out. I'll do it. We'll see. But it's very exciting. So me and Lee, a few nights ago, tried playing the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle. We've played it before, played Final Fight, it was brilliant. It's like the opposite of Doom. I wish nobody was playing Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle online, because...
But when we started, what game was it? Captain Commando we started, and it was flawless, wasn't it? And we played together.
Everyone was great.
There was a tiny bit of lag and all that, slowed down a little bit, but so little you could play it happily. And then, Darren, what happened?
Somebody tried joining us, which you can't turn off. You can't turn it off because it's like they're all 3-4 player games. So and this happened. We played 3 different games, and it happened every time. We played. It was great. It was perfect. It was great fun. Some moron tried joining us. and then it became unplayable.
Ground
then they
to
left.
a halt. Yeah.
Every time they left straight away, and then it's carried on being unplayable.
Yeah, it didn't.
So then we quit.
I don't know why it didn't reset our connection, and
I know.
it's so strange. However,
it's very irritating. Yeah, there is some good news. In November, there's an update. They said they've listened to the fans, and originally I was like, I was like, what do you mean listen to the fans? What's wrong with the game? It's great. We've played it before, and now I realise what it is. They've added new filters and new sizes and things like that. Great, but the biggest thing they're adding is the ability to stop players from joining you mid-game. So we'll finally be able to play through all those arcade games. It's such good fun. Capcom, it's an absolute what was it, $15.99?
Yeah.
What a bargain. What an absolute bargain for some great games. It'd be worth it even without the online. But
yeah, I've had my money's worth already, you know, sitting there playing with my son. We've played through Final Fight numerous times already, and it's already had my $15.99's worth.
And you still enjoy it, just playing through the same game over and over. So.
Yeah, it's kind of mindless, you know, and like you said earlier as well, weeks ago, it would be nice to have a stock set of lives, and then you can continue just to try and beat your high score and see how far you can go on 3 lives or 4 lives.
Yeah, exactly.
This is just like a coin op, and you can just stick, you know, always keep on coming back. You can infinite respawns. So yeah, we just go from one end of the game to the other end.
Awesome. Greg, are you tempted yet by this game, or is it not in any way, shape or form does it appeal to you?
Weirdly, I'm less tempted than I was when it first came out. I don't know if it's just because I'm busy with other games at the minute, but my brother does have it, so I do intend to give it a go someday. But the Sega Mega Drive collection is coming out. I think it was announced for the 6th of December.
7th.
Well. So I think it would probably be more appealing, and it has like the Streets of Rage games, Golden Axe and stuff, with loads of other games, so I think I'd probably be more likely to pick that up instead. Yeah,
I keep forgetting, they have online as well, don't they?
Yes, they do, yeah.
Wow. That's an absolute bargain, isn't it, that Mega Drive collection? I'm looking, you know, I'm not Sega's biggest fan, even though I've owned all the consoles, but you know, I'm not their biggest fan, but that is quite an exciting, 30 games? Columns
50.
on it as well?
Over 50.
50?
Yeah, over 50.
Wow. Awesome. Yep, so I'm looking forward to that. In exciting Amiibo news, it's such a weird story how this came out. So, Diablo is obviously coming out this week. I'm very excited about it. Weirdly, I'm trying to convince myself not to buy it, not to impulse buy it, but we'll see how that goes. But there's like rumours though, like Amiibo, like first it was just bits of text, or was it like Goblin Amiibo or Monster Amiibo or something like that, and they were saying, well, that sounds like Diablo. And now the game's obviously been reviewed and people have it, and there's actually got the images of the Amiibo, like, oh, place your Amiibo on here, and it's like they've not announced this. The game's, you know, in effect out. Everyone has it. The people are releasing these screenshots showing the image. It's like they've not announced these Amiibo that are coming out, or they've not released. It's like, what is going on? Do you think they are actually releasing Amiibo? I don't know if you've even seen this, Greg, but do you think they are actually releasing these Amiibo, or do you think it's a weird sort of, you can use any Amiibo, but in the game it just sort of says they're monsters or whatever?
It might be one of those, because they've come out and they've got the bundle as well, and we were talking about that as well, saying, why have there's such a strange game to have a Switch bundle for, with all the decals and everything on the Switch itself, and now they've got Amiibo. It's got to be, if those Amiibo are coming out, it's got to be a deal that Nintendo have had to promise Blizzard to get Diablo 3 on the Switch.
Yeah. What about you, Greg? I mean, you've got no interest in this at all, do you? But do you think this Amiibo situation is bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, I haven't really given it an awful lot of thought, to be quite honest.
I can imagine. You can't be convinced by Diablo, can you?
I don't think so, no.
Surely you like to play Gauntlet back in the day.
Well, when it obviously getting like 3 or 4 people together locally to play a wee bit of Gauntlet Legends on the N64, that was quite fun. Those days are gone. Fun is gone. Can't you tell?
I think they probably are real. I think they are going to release them. They've just handled it in a really weird way. But I feel as if Nintendo have gone all out on Diablo 3. They've released special editions to Switch. I don't know if you saw the trailer they released a couple of days ago. It's a full-on live-action, proper advert for the game.
Yeah.
They've done loads of marketing for it. They've kind of released these Amiibo for it. For me, it feels like it's like basically they want Overwatch on the Switch. Surely, and Hearthstone. Hopefully, that is an amazing game. I'd pick that up straight away. You want Blizzard's games on the Switch, and maybe it's like they've said, oh, we'll put Diablo 3 on it, and Nintendo realise, we're going to work with you. We are going to do our best to make this as successful as it can be, to show you that you should put those other games on the Switch. That's what I think is happening. It's a bit of a test, which is annoying. I hate the kind of power that these companies have over Nintendo because of the past, but it feels like this is a test, and Nintendo are going all out to make this a success, because I think everyone sort of feels like Fortnite in a way. If Overwatch was on the Switch, it would be a massive thing. And I've never really played Overwatch or anything like that. Is that the kind of game that would appeal to you too? Greg, would it appeal to you?
Again, I haven't really thought too much about Overwatch or ever really looked into it, because I don't play like the other consoles online or anything. But in terms of Blizzard's games, like that would probably would be the one that would maybe gravitate towards.
How different is it from Paladins? It's a squad-based shooter, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, Paladins is
Copy.
I'll say it's a rip-off of Overwatch, but I think lots of people would go, actually Paladins came first or something. I don't know, but I think it seems quite similar. I've played Paladins, I've not played Overwatch, but I've looked into it quite a bit because I like the style of the characters, and it sounds great. It's meant to be amazing, but yeah, in effect, squad game, everyone's got their own role. One's a medic, one's a warrior, it's similar to Paladins in that way, and you can build up your characters and stuff like that. It sounds good fun, and more kind of those kind of games on the Switch, the better. But I mean, we'll see. Do you think that is what is happening? And ultimately, do you think Diablo 3 is going to sell well enough to get Hearthstone and Overwatch?
Well, why choose Diablo 3 over Overwatch in the first place?
Because it's easy to port over. It's old.
It's an older game, yeah. Yeah, it must be easier to port. Then we can just hope for the figures, for the numbers, and see what happens. I've already pre-ordered Diablo 3. I'm looking forward to, even if it's just in local co-op with my son, it'd be good fun.
Yeah, you're lucky.
Yeah,
you're lucky true. You've got that. Yeah. But we will see. I don't know. I wish there was a demo. I worry it's just going to be really boring. Doing the same thing, the idea of doing the same thing over and over and over again could get really boring. But then the loot system, the kind of loop of it all, feels like it could appeal to me. Like in a weird way, like SteamWorld Dig has a circular looping system of you kind of go down, you dig until you and then you go back up and you change it. So it's Into the Breach. It's in effect, it's the same thing over and over again, and the different classes change the way it plays, but it's fun enough for me to want to keep playing. I put like 30 hours or whatever into that game, so it could be like that for me, or I could find it really boring because it is a hack and slash. And I keep thinking of Hyrule Warriors. I know it doesn't play anything like it, but I'm like, I couldn't play that over and over again, just mowing down hordes of enemies. And so I just want to play it to see how addictive the kind of looting system is. Maybe I'll wait for your opinions, Lee, and I want your honest opinions, and maybe I'll judge it based on that.
Cool.
Yeah, finally we'll talk about Nintendo announced sort of yesterday and today more news is trickling out. They've done their reports and how it's sold, the Switch and individual games, and it's sort of, I feel like I've been speaking a lot. Greg, you've not been speaking enough. Give us the highlights of the sales forecast. Go on, Greg. Have you got them in front of you?
Yes, I do. Actually,
go for it. Go on. You give us it. I'm fed up on my own voice.
Well, obviously, like the Switch has surpassed the GameCube's lifetime sales.
Woo!
GameCube was sitting at 21.74 million, and the Switch is currently at 22.86 million. So, given that the Switch has only been out for like just over a year and a half or whatever, that's amazing. It kind of shows.
I can't believe it's that low. I thought it's 30. And I thought the N64 was 50.
So, the N64 reached 32, nearly 33 million units, and the Switch should easily reach that before the end of the year. Smash is out, Darren, and Pokemon's coming as well. And looking at the breakdown of 2017 to 2018, if my memory doesn't fail me, from 2017 the Switch sold 14 million units.
Okay.
And 2018 at the moment, it's sitting on...
It was 8 million.
8 million, yeah. It's about 8 million.
At the end of September. So not 6 months.
So they promised that in 2018 they would sell 20 million units. Do you
That's
think
the
they're
fiscal
going to do
year,
it?
innit?
Yeah, the fiscal year. So that goes all the way through to March.
Do you think they're going to do it?
Personally, I think they will. I think they'll hammer it.
Hammer it?
Yeah, I think they're going to go well over it. It's going to start shooting up now. As soon as that Smash comes out and Pokemon, you'll see a vast uptake.
I mean, that's the thing. If you think if they sold 8 million in the first half of the year, even if they just continued that, that's 16 million.
Yeah.
Now, That doesn't actually include Mario Party, and we'll chat about it in a bit, but that's sold 1.5 million copies in a few weeks. So that's going to have sold some Switches, and it will continue because it's a good family game, it's a good Christmas game. It doesn't include Pokemon, it doesn't include Smash Brothers, and it doesn't include Christmas. It doesn't include the fact that people are buying them for Christmas. So can they sell an extra 4 million copies boosted because of Christmas, Pokemon and Smash? Yeah, I've got a feeling they could do that. I don't know if they'll smash it. It's not. It doesn't seem out the realms of possibility. And the other thing is like if there's we're not even chatting about what they're releasing in January, February, March. If Animal Crossing comes out in March or something, which it could easily be that kind of spring game. Yoshi, did they give a release date for Yoshi?
Spring. They've only got spring at the moment, so you're looking March, April, May.
Yeah. So who knows what they're going to be releasing early next year as well. So I think I'm not as confident as you, but I think they'll sell around 20 million. It seems to me like they've probably done a good estimate, which is kind of mad because when they first said it, everyone went 20 million.
Yeah.
Really? And now it's like, yeah, they probably will. So I think that's really, really impressive.
And there's this really good cumulative global console shipments for the first 72 months where they've overlaid all the consoles from PS3 all the way through to the Switch. And basically, the Switch and the PS4 are overlapping each other at different times of the year because the 6-month gap from when they were actually released. It's time for the Switch to shine now, to catch up with the PS4 sales and overtake it.
I guess it's just like what impact does PS5 and the new Xbox have? What impact does this the new Switch, which is rumoured for next year and stuff like that? Ultimately, it's amazing news. And are there any of the kind of, at least like sort of sales figures of the games? Are there any of the games which make you go, wow, or disappointed with, or any kind of notable mentions?
Yeah, I'm surprised that things like Donkey Kong, Super Mario Odyssey was always going to sell the 12 million it sold. But things like Mario Kart 8 selling better than the Wii U shows that they did the right thing doing these Wii U ports. Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is sitting at 1.67 million, and Xenoblade Chronicles 2, which is a great story, at 1.5 million.
Yeah,
fantastic
for
sales.
Me, the really impressive ones are ARMS, brand new IP, kind of crazy game, over 2 million. Mario Tennis selling over 2 million, the fastest selling Mario Tennis game. It's probably going to become the best selling tennis game of all time. I think they're really great news. Mario Party selling 1.5 million in a few weeks. It's amazing news. And a disappointing one is a 1-2 Switch selling nearly over 2.5 million. But any of those kind of for you, Greg, where you kind of blown away by those sort of Switch sales figures?
ARMS has probably sold more than I kind of expected, maybe. 2.1 million.
Done pretty well.
Great
Mario
game.
Tennis Aces being the fastest selling Mario Tennis title ever is really good.
And deserved.
Yeah, and I think it's probably got maybe a couple more million left in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, really good numbers.
I mean, that's the thing generally with Nintendo's and games. It is one of those things where it's like, in 3 years' time, people pick up a Switch. They could easily want to pick up Mario Party and Mario Odyssey and Mario Tennis, and they're just games that they don't release them every year. They release them once a generation, and they're just continually going to sell. So it's going to be fascinating to kind of see that. And then they released sort of 3DS and even Wii U numbers, and you look at them and you're like, they're quite impressive. Wii U, which is just sold 11 million consoles or something, and Mario Kart 8 sold 8.4. So it's like 3/4 of Wii U owners bought it, and even like Mario Party 10, over 2 million copies on the Wii U. That's kind of mad. I think it's
It is, and then taking all those numbers from the Wii U and all that, I'm looking at the Splatoon 2 number for Switch, and I'm thinking, seems a bit low at 7.5 million. I thought it would be a little higher. I thought it'd be pushing the 10 million by now.
Yeah, and obviously they're releasing Splatoon 3 next year, so it's not going to increase too much. I suppose it's coming to
the end of its cycle, and there's no more new upgrades and all that, so yeah.
That's the kind of game that could easily sell another million or so over Christmas alone, when everyone picks up a new Switch, especially in Japan and stuff, and everyone just picks up Splatoon 2, so it wouldn't surprise me if it kind of gets over 10 million. But it does depend on what they're going to do with, we've chatted about it in a previous episode, but what they're going to do next year. This is coming to an end. But maybe actually we'll just have a quick chat about this. Sorry if I'm kind of going off on tangents. And they said, well, two things. They said two very exciting things. Not very exciting, Mr. Hyperbole again. They said some pretty interesting things. One, he said, we need to release more big games, which I agree with. They do need to keep releasing big games, which is good, because let's be honest, I've loved the Switch this year, but if you want to be objective about the first party lineup is poor. And they also said that they're going to release DLC for their biggest games. And their biggest games are Mario Odyssey, Mario Kart 8, Zelda, Splatoon. So are they going to release? So when he said that, is that basically telling us they're going to release some new DLC for all of those games? Kind of is, isn't it? Surely.
All of them, maybe not. I can't
Why
see
not?
them. I can't see them releasing any more DLC for Splatoon 2 because we know Splatoon 3 is coming next year.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah.
But Mario Odyssey, definitely. You got the 2D Mario Super Mario Brothers Deluxe coming out. And that will satiate that kind of thing. But yeah, they don't need to bring a 3D Mario out. Just bring us some more worlds. And I'd like to see some old school Mario 64 levels or some Sunshine levels put in there as DLC.
Yeah. You don't want a Mario Odyssey 2?
I don't think they need to. Not yet, anyway.
Maybe not. What about you, Greg? Can you see any... Do you think... He basically said, we're going to release more DLC for our biggest games. He said it.
Yeah.
So they've released... going to do something. I mean, what do you expect from that?
Well... To be honest, I don't expect any more DLC for Breath of the Wild. I think we might get some for Odyssey. I actually played that for a wee minute last night as well. I put on, I'd done a couple of the wee balloons. But I was actually talking about that game with a few people the other day. And, the general setup of it, if you're wanting to replay it, if you want to go from, start to finish, wherever, it's way too easy. There's too many easy moons to get if you're just wanting to go to get to the credits. But there's also too many moons to get if you're wanting to 100% it again, so it's too much of a slog. So there's this weird sort of I'd find it really probably not that appealing to go back to as it is at the minute. But if they add in more levels and stuff, then absolutely I'd be back in for that. But what I do think, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, I think we've obviously got the Mario Kart mobile app that's going to be coming at some point, and I think we're going to actually get more tracks.
They confirmed that, by the way, for March.
March, okay.
They
I think we're going to get
March.
more tracks for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I don't think they need to release a new Mario Kart on the Switch. We kind of spoke about that a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
I'd be happy if they just gave us here's 4 new cups or something, and loads of challenges and stuff. That would be my sort of ideal update.
Yeah, and new characters maybe as well. Why not? What about the other games? I mean, Mario Tennis. They're obviously going to be releasing constant streams of those co-op tournaments. I think they've said that they're going to keep releasing characters until next June. Did they say Mario Party? More boards, more characters, more mini games.
Yeah.
How good would it be if they released a couple of new mini games every month for Mario Party? Yeah. That'd be great.
Or a
wouldn't
few new online modes or something, or even extra games online.
What if they patched it and added in online boards?
That's what we want.
I kind of think I mentioned this before. Whenever you are playing the boards, the mini games kind of become inconsequential. They don't really factor in that much when you're playing it. You get a few coins for it, but everybody gets coins, and then the coins, buying stars, you don't need that many coins to buy them and stuff. So I think it's quite unbalanced in that way.
I know what you mean. Sometimes I play it and I'm like, no, the minigames do have an impact, especially at the beginning. Because if you at the beginning, if you win the first couple, and there's loads of times where everyone goes past the star, and because I was winning the minigames, they couldn't buy them, didn't have the coins. Yeah. So and I went and I bought them, and then later on, it was just well, they give out too many coins. It's by the end, everyone's got 60 coins. It's a bit it's frustrating. I still think they just need to give. It's a simple fix. Have the 2 bonus stars, fine, but they need to give a guaranteed star for who won the most minigames. They need to just give. That's it. Just add that in for that 3rd extra star at the end. You won the most minigames, you get a star guaranteed. Because when it doesn't, when you feel like the minigames don't impact it's kind of frustrating. You're what's the point? It's kind of frustrating a little bit, but I still love it. But I need to fix that. But new boards.
I wouldn't mind seeing a few of the old boards, because if you think of back to the Nintendo 64 ones, they all had really cool themes and stuff for the boards, and I think the ones on the Switch are a wee bit maybe bland in comparison. So a few of those would be good.
That's fair enough. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what they mean by that. But a bit of me is almost I don't know. I don't know. They're clearly going to... I still want a Mario Kart 9. And I still think, how many people will buy DLC on Mario Kart 8 over who would buy a new Mario Kart?
Yeah.
So, but maybe it's obviously cheaper and easier to make DLC for a game that already exists than it is to build a brand new game. So, I don't know. We'll see. But I'm quite excited by that. I personally love this sort of idea of... adding new content, and some people moaned about Splatoon, which was the kind of first game that they did it with, where it felt bare bones and then built it up. I like that. Gives you an excuse to keep playing it constantly. You know, it's like, was it Smash Wii U where every character was pretty much unlocked from the beginning? Am I thinking about that? Or even maybe it's Mario Kart. I'm thinking of Deluxe, where everything's opened at the beginning, and you're like, you know what? I actually quite like the progression. I like unlocking stuff. I like having an excuse and a need to keep playing.
And it makes it that helps you learn the tracks as well, you know, because you have to go progress through each cup and do it in 50cc, do it 100cc, do it 150cc. It helps you build up through and know the courses intimately before you start playing online. But
I mean, I'd go straight into 150cc, but other than that, I agree. 50cc, I never want to play again in my life. Can't remember where I was going with that. Ultimately, sounds great. Everything's it's just a great sort of time for Nintendo, and it's obviously good for us because we're getting so many games from that. But let's get on to our main topic, which is, with it being Halloween, we're going to talk about Halloween and our favourite kind of scary moments or scary games or scary levels. And Greg, I'm very excited. We've got one of your quizzes. So, Greg, what exciting game have you got for us today? And who do you think is going to win, me or Lee? It's just a little bet.
I think Lee's got this one this week.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, he did say he's been sweating up on Nintendo Halloween games, so you're probably right there. But we'll see. So what is the game? What are the rules?
Basically, it's a wee bit of a general knowledge quiz, sort of centered around like a sort of horror theme with like Nintendo titles and stuff. There isn't that many questions. There's basically, you've got 4 questions each, and then like the last question is basically like it's going to be it's a bit of a list of a thing, and you basically say whether it's like true or false. So there's 16 points up for grabs each in total here. So Lee, do you want the first set of questions or the second set of questions?
Let's go with the first set.
Okay. There isn't that much difference between the 2 sets of questions. They're sort of like, I try to keep a wee bit of parity so it's not really too unfair or anything. Right, my first question for Lee is, I was on Metacritic, and there's 2 games that released on Nintendo platforms over the years, and I want you to tell me which one rated higher on Metacritic. Resident Evil 2 on Nintendo 64 or Eternal Darkness on the GameCube?
Toss a coin.
It is, but I'm sure I can remember reviews coming out for the N64 Resident Evil 2, and they weren't that glowing because of the price and other things. I'm going to go with Eternal Darkness because of that.
And that is correct. And there's also a bonus point if you can tell me how many points it is ahead of Resident Evil 2.
Oh, bloody okay.
Okay. So if Resident Evil 2 was a middling kind of game, say 65, then I don't think Eternal Darkness would have been really high, like in the 15 points ahead.
No, it's not as much as that. On Metacritic, Eternal Darkness is 92.
Wow.
And Resident Evil 2 is 89.
Both a lot higher than I thought they were.
Extremely high. I hope I haven't got that one wrong. But yeah, that does seem quite high. But yeah, deserved.
Cool.
And Darren, your question is very much on the same theme here. Which of these games rate it higher on Metacritic? Zombie U on the Wii U, or Silent Hill Shattered Memories on Wii?
Oh! I'm going to say Silent Hill.
I would have said that one.
Silent Hill Shattered Memories.
And you are also correct. And again, a bonus point if you can tell me how many points ahead of Zombie U it was.
I'm going to say Silent Hill got around 85, 86, and Zombie U got around about... I'm going to say 6 points difference.
No bonus point for you either. Silent Hill Shattered Memories got a disappointing 79. Deserves more than that. Zombie U, 77. So not that much between them.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, some outlets laid into Zombie U, didn't they?
Yeah. Anyway, question 2. We all know that Resident Evil got a glorious remake on the GameCube, and that's obviously coming to the Switch. But it also came out on the DS as well. What was the subtitle of the DS version?
Resident Evil... It was something to do with motion, like cut. Resident Evil... Deadly Silence?
Pulled out of the bag.
Yes,
correct.
Come on. It just popped in my head. It's got to be DS. Deadly. Yes, Deadly Silence. Come on.
He's got a list of the games in front of him. We can see him reading them.
That is.
Well done. Whenever you're talking about the cutting bit, obviously there was the touchscreen stuff, but I thought, you're going a wee bit off base here. Very good.
Oof.
On a similar theme, Outlast is on the Switch at the moment, but what is the subtitle of the original Outlast on Switch?
I mean, I've got absolutely no idea.
Oh, I know this one as well.
No, it's currently in the sale, so I noticed the subtitle whenever I was like flicking down through the the games.
No idea. I don't know.
A clue is that the DLC was included with the Switch version.
Deluxe. Deadly Deluxe.
Do you want to put him out of his misery there, Lee? You don't get a point for it, but
Bundle of Terror.
that's right. Yep, Bundle of Terror. Sorry. Okay.
Do I get
next
a bonus
question.
point?
No. Right. The next question is related to Resident Evil. I don't know if you are familiar with the characters in Resident Evil, but Lee, your question is, what are the names of both playable protagonists in Resident Evil 0? Now, if you just know them by first name, you'll get a point for the first name, but you'll also get a point for the surnames as well.
I was going to say in the news that I'm looking forward to Resident Evil 4, obviously, and the remake of the Resident Evil 1, because it's been such a long time since the GameCube and since I played it. I haven't played Resident Evil 0.
Well, really?
So, but I can kind of remember the girl's name, and it's out of my mind at the moment because she was in the 3DS Resident Evil, not Revelations, Resident Evil Mercenaries. Oh, what is her name? Moira? No,
Can I get it?
Moira was from. Oh, I just probably give it.
If
give
Lee
the answer.
can't guess it, then you can go like.
I don't know. I wouldn't even know. Oh, wait there, Rachel.
Ooh, unlucky.
No.
It begins with R though, doesn't it? Because another name just popped in my mind. Okay, no, forget it.
Yeah. There's 4 points available here, for one for obviously each first name and then the surname. If you don't know,
So can I
no
guess
guesses
again?
for any of
Can I
them.
guess again?
Just keep guessing, surely.
You can guess the male protagonist.
Oh, I
Yes.
can't guess the girl again. Okay, the male is Steve.
You know what? It's like a realm of names, to be honest.
Darn, any guesses for no points, just
No guesses.
to rub it in.
No guesses, just facts.
Ooh.
Rebecca
Okay.
Chambers
Rebecca
and
Chambers,
Billy.
yep.
I don't know his
Rebecca.
last name.
Oh, Billy. Yes, Billy.
Billy Cohen.
Billy, what a name. Billy
As soon
Jones.
as I said Rachel, Rebecca popped in my head. Oh, unbelievable.
That's unfortunate. Anyway, darn. Once again, a similar sort of question here. What are the names of both playable protagonists in Resident Evil?
The first one,
The first one, yeah.
Chris and Jill. Jill Valentine.
Yep, so that's
And
3 points so far.
Chris.
Chris.
Redfield.
Ah, you jammy.
That's correct.
sod.
To be fair, I think I got the easy one out of the two.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah, out of that, Darren, you're currently on 5 points. Lee was winning, but is on 2 at the moment. No, we've all played Eternal Darkness, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Not all the way through.
Yes, but we're all aware of like the different
revelations that are coming out. The Resident Evil revelations that are coming out. So.
We're all aware of the different alignments that you have throughout the game. You have like
no
your red,
chance on
blue,
this,
green,
yeah.
right?
Oh, okay. The magic things, yeah.
Right, okay. This is like a 50-50 question, although if you can give me the name without needing it, you'll get a bonus point. What is the name of the red alignment?
No chance.
John,
Is this for
the
Lee?
2 options then? Yes, this is for Lee.
Yes, I would like 2 options because I'm going to need a 50-50 chance. Or if something actually hits the back of my memory. Let's go for it.
Oh, okay. Is it Manta Rock or Chaturga?
Fucking names.
As you do hear them all the time throughout the game, because whenever you're doing
Mantle
casting the spells, you hear them. Yeah.
I'm going to go with the second one. Chaturga.
And Chaturga is correct.
Thank you.
That's a point. I imagine you're probably going to need the help here as well. Darren, which is the blue alignment? Is it Ulioth or
It's yellow, I'm sure of it.
Zelatoth?
Or what?
Or Zelatoth? pronunciation may be a wee bit dodgy.
My brain straight away thought the first one was, say them again.
Yuliath.
That's better. There we go.
Or Zelatoth.
I'm trying to remember. In my head, I was like yellow. I was like, I don't think there was a yellow one. Yuliath. Zelatoth. No. Zelatoth.
No point. It's Yuliath.
Yeah. was there
Doesn't
a
that just
yellow
make you
one?
want to play the game? No, there's not a yellow one.
Hey.
Although there's a
purple.
I was aware of the red, blue, and green one, but whenever I was researching this here, there seems to be a purple one as well, which is Manta Rock. So there we go. Doesn't
that the end of the game?
Want to play it again? What's that? Sorry.
Is that the end of the game?
No, there's one final question here, and it's a list.
But it's 5-3 to me, isn't it?
There's 7 points each available here, so there's still time.
It's like Mario Party. It's like throwing stars out willy-nilly.
Right. Luigi's Mansion. You've both played it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you'll all remember there's a wee section in it where you release lots of boos that you can go around and hunt down and vacuum them up, and they've all got specific names. I'm gonna go through a list here, and you have to tell me whether this is a real name or one.
Oh my god, this is. But this is the first one, not.
This
is basically just. It's basically 50-50 each one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Real, not real. Okay.
The bamboo.
I'm picturing now, is there a place where there is bamboo that the bamboo would be hiding? I'm going to say false.
And you would be wrong. There's one called Bamboo, and he says, I am bamboo, if you please. Darren.
Bamboo.
Boo-tato.
I mean, I want to say no, but it's so stupid it's probably true. Boo-tato. This is the most ridiculous thing. I want to say no because it's stupid, but I'm going to say yes because it is stupid. Yes, that is a real one.
It's not real, it's the one I made up.
But it now needs to be.
Should have went with your first
Luigi's Mansion
instinct.
3.
Boo-tato.
Lee. Game Boy Advance.
There was connectivity with the Game Boy Advance. Or at least the device that Luigi pulled up to talk to EGAD was on a Game Boy Advance style thing. I'm going to say that's true.
Well, it was actually a Game Boy Color, or Game Boy Horror, it was called in the game. But Game Boy Advance is correct, yes, it was in the game. He just says, wanna play Game Boy Advance? Darren. Beautiful.
Real.
Nope, again another one I made up. So currently 5-4 in Darren's favour. So all to play for. Lee.
Let's go.
Boo la la.
True.
Correct, that one is true as well. And he just says, hello, I am Boo la la.
Did he have long, sexy legs?
I assume so. Darren. Mr. Boojangles.
I hate this. I hate this. Well, at the minute there's a pattern to being true and not true. And I'm always like, surely he's going to break the pattern. So this is going to be true. But the actual ones which are quite good puns, you've come up with.
The funny ones, yeah.
And Boojangles is a pretty good pun. So I'm saying that that's fake because it sounds... But then at the same time, surely you're not going to make it everyone Lee says is real and everyone I say is not. So I'm going to say it is real.
And it is real.
Yeah, right.
That's the point. And he just says, jingle jangle, Mr. Boojangles. So there's 4 points left.
I'm waiting for Boo's Your Daddy.
I didn't think of that one. Right, next one, Lee. Boo hoo.
Oh, that sounds legitimate. And I'm going to go with Darren's reasoning here. No, it's false.
It's true.
Oh.
It is a real one. It just says, sniff, I'm boo hoo.
Amazing.
Darren.
Yes.
Bullet Bill.
No.
Not
No
good
way.
enough.
No way.
Fake.
No way.
That one is true. False.
Ah, good.
I made that one up.
So,
So you've got a 2 point lead, 3 left each.
each.
Yep.
So you need to get them all to win and meet
Yeah.
to get none. Okay.
Lee, Boo, Steele.
That has got to be false.
And that's right.
Yeah.
That is false.
I was going to say,
Stay
surely
on
they'd
the game.
never
That one
really
was
do it.
that one was the most obviously false one, I think.
Yeah.
Was Zoolander even out at that time?
Exactly, yeah. That's...
Darn. Boo-Ouija.
Surely. You've got to say surely, but then... No, I'm going to say false.
That one is real.
Yeah!
Boo-Ouija is in it.
It felt like it would be. It's like, yeah, surely that makes so much sense, but then... flipping heck.
Lee. Shampoo.
There's gotta be a boo in a shower somewhere. I'm saying true.
And that one is true.
Yeah!
This levels up the score.
So we're level at the minute.
Yeah.
He just says, fresh, clean shampoo. Boozecaster.
Boozecaster?
Yeah.
I don't even know what that's... Oh, like a newscaster.
Yeah.
Surely not. Hate this game.
I can tell.
I'm gonna say... It's stupid. Boozecaster? No, surely not.
It sounds too much like
Real.
alcohol. You're going real.
Real. It's real.
Real? It is real. Actually, one of my favourite ones. He just comes up and says, time for the 6 o'clock booze.
6 o'clock booze. I know a few people who say the same thing.
So 1 point lead, 1 question left each.
You can only level, Lee.
Oh, but then there's the...
There is a tie-break question too. Wabuigi.
No chance.
I almost think it's... He said no. He
I
said
no.
no.
I'm not going to change my mind. It's false.
And that is a point for Lee. It is false.
Oh, Wabuigi.
Buigi made it, but not Wabuigi. So last one. Pivotal. Boutique.
Boutique. That sounds good. That sounds like a good one to me. I'm trying to read Greg's facial expression.
You think I look proud of that one?
I never thought. Okay, yeah, as in like boutique. And what score is it?
It's currently 8-8.
It sounds good, but I wonder if it's like my previous sort of thinking, where it's almost too good. It's too nice. Boutique. I'm going to say. And is there another question after this?
There's a tie-break question if necessary.
I'm going to say false. That's too good. I'm going to give you the credit for that.
I thought that would be true. Before you say, I thought it'd be true. There is a dresser table with a ghost who puts makeup on in the game, isn't there? I thought maybe it would be hiding there. Boutique. Anyway, okay, what is it, Greg?
It is
This
real.
is oh my
And he just
God.
says, boutique, say chic.
Hanging on in there.
So, very good. All tied up.
It's ridiculous.
I'm not sure who wants to go first for this one, the tie-break question. I'll let Darren go first. Back to Metacritic. What Metascore does the reboot of Alone in the Dark on Wii have?
Are we going to see who's the closest?
Who's the closest?
But is it... Well, that's not fair, because obviously you can just sort of
searching.
like say one above, one below.
I got my hands here. You can see I'm not searching.
66. Won the World Cup.
Lee, have any of you played it?
No, I haven't. And it didn't review particularly well.
Oh, I have no memory.
Darren can't be far off in the high 60s. I think it'll be in the 70s. I'm going to be cheeky and say, what did you say, 66, Darren?
Sure, but I think we should have a 5 leeway.
Okay, I'll go with that. I'll go for...
Because you could say 67
I
or
was going to say
68, and
67.
then be like, well...
So if I go 5 higher than yours, 71. And I'll stick with that.
Okay, I haven't played this one either, but I do remember it reviewing absolutely terribly.
Dear me.
39.
Oh.
So Darren has won it.
That bad?
Yeah, that bad.
39.
Almost as bad as
Wow.
your answers. Well done.
Thank you, Greg.
Fun. That was good. Another game. That was good. That was good fun. I kind of want to play Luigi's Mansion. I'm tempted to get the 3DS version. I'm not going to lie. I'm really tempted. But on that theme, obviously, it's Halloween. I've been playing some Halloween games. This week I am going to be... I've played Bull Boy, I played Limbo, I want to play Inside and Bloodstained. So I just thought I'd, we want to chat about our Halloween game memories or scary game memories or scary level memories. But I just thought I'd tell you like what I thought about Bull Boy and Limbo. I don't know if you've played either of them. So Bull Boy is a point-and-click adventure where you play a boy with a bulb head. And it's just a very freakish, nightmarish sort of surreal world, quite grotesque. It's quite light. The kind of styles, very gothic, extreme sort of Tim Burton style. And I don't even know what the story is. You're in your house. You go to bed at night, and this sort of monster invades and takes over your granddad, and you have to sort of rescue your granddad. But it took me about 2 hours to complete. Cost me about £1. If it's still £1 on the eShop, I would say buy it. It's a really, really good game.
I have already. It's on my to play list.
It's really good. The fact that it's 2 hours is to its credit. Anything more than that would have been too much. But I played it in one sitting, and it was really good fun. The kind of grotesque style is quite funny. The puzzles are genuinely good. It's very varied the way the puzzles work. The levels are very different to each other. You're not sort of doing the same thing. It's really contained as well, so there's not loads of backtracking. Like you can play some point and click games, and you can go from one end of you're somewhere, and you got to backtrack an hour to find another thing, and it's quite obnoxious sometimes where you have to find 2 different items to do something. It's very simple, quite easy, but fun enough in the kind of visuals and the kind of enemies and the way the puzzles are all sort of inventive enough and fun enough that for 2 hours for a quid or £1.50 or whatever it is an absolute bargain. I really, really enjoyed it. If you paid a tenner for it, you'd probably be gutted, but couple of hours, point and click adventure, horror, kind of really, really worth it. I'd highly recommend picking it up for anything under a £5. And another game I've played is Limbo, which I've sort of dabbled with before, but I've never completed. This is like one of the first indie sort of darlings, I guess. This Braid, it came after Braid, I think, and things like that, and you got to think of the first batch. But again, it's you play this boy and he's in limbo, and you sort of just navigating through limbo, and as that progresses, and it's still really good. It's not aged amazingly well, but it's still really good. The visual style is beautiful. It's really haunting. The sound and the very minimal music's great. The atmosphere of it is perfect, and the puzzles are genuinely really good. Some of them are a little bit clumsy. The controls are a little bit clunky, but ultimately it's still a really sort of great game. It's like £6 or something on the eShop. Again, absolute bargain for that price. It takes about 3 to 4 hours to complete, and it's just well worth it. Purely for the atmosphere, and it's so beautiful. It's so hauntingly beautiful, and the gameplay's good enough, and the way the story progresses as well. It's really subtle but really nice. It's a weird thing to call it a beautiful game because it's so dark and morbid in a way, but it kind of is. It's just really nice. You play a very young boy, and as all of us fathers of young boys, it kind of has in all honesty, it has a sort of a weird resonance to it. You're watching this boy navigate. He's died and it's navigating through limbo, and it's really so kind of tragic. But yeah, really, really, really great game, and I'm very, very excited about. I wanted to play through Bloodstained and Inside because all these games are all a few hours each. That's it. I think Bloodstained's a couple of hours, Bull Boy a couple of hours, Inside's 3 to 4 hours. This, it's like perfect. So I wanted to finish them all for today, but I didn't manage it. But I'm going to continue tonight and for the rest of the week. And sort of really excited about it. But Greg, you've been playing a horror game. I am very excited to hear what you think of this.
Me too.
So what have you been playing?
I'm not sure if it was like classified as a horror game as such, but I've been playing Dark Souls Remastered this week, and it is legitimately terrifying. I'm not one for like gore and stuff like that. Never really like gets me. Like if I play through like sort of traditional horror games and stuff, I never really feel that fear or anything. When I'm playing through Dark Souls, I constantly feel fear. Now you guys know I've been playing it. It was kind of supposed to be a surprise, but Lee spotted it on me playing it on the Switch, even though I thought I had that stuff turned off. And the reason I'd done that was because I didn't think you guys would really expect me to pick something like this up. But like it was,
no, I wouldn't, to be honest. No.
It was like about a week and a half ago. I was watching videos of it. There was a couple on the Switch and stuff, and then I ended up watching reviews of it. And for some reason, it just like I like the look of it, and I don't really usually go for games with this sort of like theme or style. And like I just thought it looks fun, and everybody says about how hard it is, how challenging, and I just thought, you know what, I'm curious, I really want to give this a go. So ordered it at the last weekend, and it came like during the middle of the week there, and I've put a wee bit of time into it. It's still early days, so I can't give too many in-depth thoughts about it, but what I will say is, so far I'm actually kind of loving it.
Wow.
Which will surprise you even more. Like, I have died a lot,
but it's not annoyingly frustrating.
Not so far. Like, I do worry that maybe later on, like, if I'm struggling more, because I am dying a lot, and it is early on in the game, and maybe it's not that particularly difficult at the moment, but I'm making it through. I kind of fear maybe I'll not be good enough later on, or some challenge will pop on. It's like an enemy will come out, and like I'll have no idea how to take care of it, and maybe I'll just go through a portion of the game and then keep dying at this enemy, and then maybe that will become frustrating. But so far, I'm actually liking it, and part of that is I complained a couple of weeks ago about Bully, and we talked about like waypoints in the map, and it doesn't give you an opportunity to sort of like absorb the environment and stuff. Playing Dark Souls, it's just like the world just seems sort of like the perfect size, and like you might go through a wee bit of it and kill a few enemies and like learn their attack patterns and stuff, and you'll make progress, and then maybe an enemy that you haven't seen before will kill you, and you sort of go back to like the last bonfire, which is basically like your save points, your checkpoints where you can upgrade, and you'll have to sort of go through that again, but you'll go through like with the knowledge of like where the enemies are and what way they fight and stuff. So you're improving all the time, but every time you're going through it, you're sort of learning the environment as well. So you sort of know where everything is with each time you play it. So you are taking in absolutely everything, and like that's good, because sometimes you want to use the environment in your favor for like what way that you might want to lure one of the enemies out, because if you get like a bunch of enemies around you at one time, you're in trouble. Basically, you might want to lure one out, maybe up some stairs or something, or underneath like a bit where you can like jump on them from above to do like lots of damage and stuff. So yeah, absolutely loving it. And with that so far, it starts off basically with like a tutorial. There's like wee markers on the ground that just tells you all the buttons, and the buttons are quite different to what I'm used to, I suppose. Like, I'm only coming off finishing Bayonetta before I started that, and to be honest, I felt like I had my fill of Bayonetta a wee bit just before the end of that game. I was just mashing through it, and I kind of just wanted it to be finished in the end. So when Dark Souls came, like, I was actually really excited to give it a go, because I thought, right, this is one where it's going to be like much slower, much more methodical. I'm going to have to like think about what I'm doing. I'm going to have to be really precise with like my putting up my shield or parrying attacks, or like rolling out of the way at the right time and stuff. It just, you really do have to think about what you're doing in this one here. You can't just go in mashing away at like attacking enemies. You have to be really slow and think things through, and it's actually really good. Like, most of the time I've been playing, I've just been like holding my shield up most of the time, waiting for an enemy to maybe attack me and then like counter it. But then there's like some enemies I've caught to, and it really sort of like made me think more about, like, I've been really defensive, and I'm sort of thinking this isn't going to work later on in the game. So I've been like, right, instead of me just blocking this attack, I'm going to try like parrying at the right time here. So pulling that off like at the right time, it just feels so satisfying, knocking them away and then like countering. So it was one of those moments when I was fighting an enemy and I just done that, and I thought, you know what, this feels really good. Generally, the controls, I don't know if they feel like entirely precise. The fighting feels, you sort of know how Bayonetta was like so fast and fluid, and like, but everything sort of flowed like really well. I wouldn't say the controls are completely tight in this one here, but they work well enough, and it sort of adds to the whole vibe of the game, and just having to be so careful. Like, it's easy like to be attacking an enemy or something, but being close to the edge and you go to attack and you fall off the edge, and you obviously have to restart that whole section again. So you have to be like really, really careful. But I was saying like about how terrifying it was there at the start. Like I say, you're going through the enemy, going through the areas, fighting the enemies, like, and you know what they are, but you'll maybe come into like a new area and you don't know what's around the corners, and you're sort of looking for that next save point, maybe just that wee checkpoint, just the relief of that. But you'll maybe be like sort of sneaking through, and all of a sudden you'll see like this huge enemy, or like like a more difficult enemy that you maybe haven't seen before, and the moment you see them, it's like, uh-oh, I don't know how to deal with this enemy. They're charging for me. What am I supposed to do here? And that, it just fills you with just this fear, but also a curiosity. Like, right, even if they do kill me here, right, I'll be building up to it next time. And just like, how am I going to take care of this enemy? And you will go into areas like there's no like pathway that you like set pathway that you absolutely have to go this way in the game. You can kind of go off different ways. And when I first played, I went through like sort of like a graveyard sort of area into a place called the Catacombs, and like I was sort of trying to run through that, and like I was getting absolutely destroyed, and I was sort of like, the enemies were too difficult for me, and I sort of realised, right, maybe I'm not actually supposed to be down in this area yet. So I explored a wee bit of the area that you sort of start in and find like a different path to go, and that's the path I'm down at the minute. So you kind of just have to think about what way you want to go, and like maybe you can go down that other way and take care of the enemies in the graveyard and stuff, maybe if you're more experienced or something, but it was too hard for me then. And you do level up throughout the game, so I obviously will be back in that area at some point, I'm sure. But hopefully I'll be better equipped with the gameplay and stuff. Like I do still feel like I'm learning it. Funnily enough, I was at the park with my son yesterday, and it made me think of Dark Souls. I was watching
massacring loads of kids.
Not yet.
One of the kids is charging at you.
It was a park that I'd never been to before, but there was like a slide on it, and like I was watching my son on the climb up to it. It's like the climb was almost just too much above his sort of like age range, so he was sort of struggling on his way up the slide, but he was managing it. He was just piece by piece, he was just getting there. And then that elation of just to slide down to the bottom again. And it just made me think of Dark Souls. It's like that climb up, it's difficult, but you will eventually make it, just for that like elation. Just that feel good moment whenever you take down an enemy that you've been struggling with, or reach that checkpoint. It's like, I'm relieved. And then you start you climb all over again in another section. Lee, I know you've sort of been thinking about it, and we're waiting for my impressions maybe.
I'm struck with the fact that you're mentioning the fighting, and it seems a little clunky, but it's there, and it sounds a lot like Monster Hunter. And I don't know if you played a Monster Hunter game. It seems like, I need to roll out here, and then you got a Rathalos charging at you. You don't know what to do the first time. You're like, oh my god, and you're just diving out of the way, and it might take you out in 2 hits. And I'll come back later when I've upgraded a few bits and pieces. It sounds a little bit like that, and if it is, I'm even more enthusiastic about it now.
I haven't really played Monster Hunter that much. I played a try on the Wii very, very briefly. But I would say it probably is a wee bit like that in some regards. Yeah. Now I may have came across as saying it was a wee bit clunky. Maybe I think part of that is I'm not used to the fighting style, because like your sword strikes are on like the right shoulder button. So like R is to do like a standard attack, and then like ZR is to do like a strong attack, and then your shield is on like the left shoulder buttons. You'll have like, if you hold L in, that brings up your shield, or ZL is to parry, and then like the stuff on the face buttons is like to run and roll. And also like when I first started, like I was pressing Y, just like figuring out the buttons, and that drunk a health potion. So it was like, no, that's a waste. I still haven't recovered those. But anyway, it does take a wee bit of time to get used to the controls, I guess, and like I think I probably will be trying to still sort of get into grips with them for a wee while yet, but I'm enjoying learning it. And that's the thing, like when I'm not playing the game, I'm still thinking about it, and even though like I'm dying a lot, it's not putting me off. I want to go back into it, so I would recommend it to you, Lee.
Cool.
Well, the game's about 20-30 hours long. Do you feel as if there's enough variety, or the story is strong enough for it to sustain this for that long?
I actually think the game's probably going to be a lot longer than that, especially if you're dying as much as I am. I think the game's maybe about 40 plus hours long. And you say about the story keeping you going, there isn't really much of a story. Like there maybe is, like you maybe sort of uncover bits as you go, but it's not really about the story. It's kind of like, it almost feels like a sort of like a personal journey, just of like you're sort of like testing yourself, I guess.
Well, there you go. That is the story, then, isn't it? You know, does it set up like why this character's doing what he's doing? Is he going anywhere? Has he got to find something? Has he got to go? Is it?
I'm not really sure what the story is, in all honesty. Like you sort of start off in, and I think it's an asylum sort of a place. And like you'll go through that wee bit around the tutorials, and you'll fight your first boss. The first time you see the boss, it's like, crap, I need to run away. So you do run away, go around, do more tutorials, and then you eventually come back and defeat it. And then after that's done, like this big bird just carries you off to like the main big area, I guess.
Sounds like he's a nutter who's woke up in a mental asylum, and he's walking down New York City street massacring people.
Yeah, so like I'm not really sure like why you're there, but it's just like, I guess it's, you have to sort of get out of here, I guess.
Hey, and like kind of like the pace of it all. You mentioned it slow, but like how much of it is like fighting enemies? How much of it is exploring? And is there anything else to do with it, or is it just exploring the world, fighting enemies? And and what's the kind of like percentage of doing each?
That's pretty much what it is entirely. From what I've seen anyway, it's just basically finding what way to go, and like you'll maybe find it like kill an enemy, and there'll be like, or like break a pot or something, and there'll be a key in it, but you're maybe not sure where the key's for. Like it could be from a location that is from like ages ago, but whatever way the world works, like you'll eventually like sort of like circle around, and you'll unlock sort of like wee shortcuts to go different places, like
Zelda dungeons design type things.
Yeah, I guess so in a way. And like the other day when I was playing, like I was in the process of unlocking a shortcut, but I wasn't aware that I was doing it, because I went round and killed lots of enemies, and I've been doing that. I've been dying loads of times getting to a boss, and the boss killed me a few times as well. And eventually I did kill the boss, and just this feeling of like, yes, I finally beat him, and sort of like was half thinking about going back to the previous bonfire just to save things. But whenever you do that, like all the enemies respawn. So I thought, right, I'll just push on a wee bit, and came to this bridge, and all of a sudden these flames just engulfed me, and I was dead. And I was like, no! I thought, oh man, am I going to have to try and kill this boss again? I didn't have to kill the boss again. I think once the bosses are dead, they are done. Like all the other wee smaller enemies like respawn. So I got up there again, went onto the bridge, but found a wee path from the bridge, went down through it, and there was like a wee ladder that I could kick down. I thought, why would I need to kick down this ladder? So I just left it and like jumped on down, and then realized that this was the shortcut from where I actually had started from on that journey.
I can't get back
up through to the boss, so I had to go up through all that again. And then whenever I was up there again, I was about to kick down the ladder, and if you're on the edge and you tap R, you'll sort of like do like a wee sort of diving attack off the edge of a ledge. I accidentally nudged the R button as I was about to kick down the ladder, jumped off again. I was like, no, I have to go back up again. But yeah, that eventually got it kicked down and shortcut unlocked. So I'm making good progress. It is a really good game. Recommended.
Cool.
Exciting.
One other cool thing about it was like, usually like if an enemy spots you, they sort of like maybe slowly come towards you or like chase you down or something. There was one moment where I was going into like a new area, and like there was an enemy that sort of peeked out at me, and I hadn't seen it before, and I was sort of going towards him, and for some reason he was running away, and I thought, this is curious, no other enemies really seem to be doing this here. And as I was running through like the path, like it was a wee sort of a tunnel into like a room.
He's baiting you.
Just before I got to the end of the tunnel, I thought, hold on a minute, I think he's luring me in here. And just before I got to the end of the tunnel, I stopped, and there was two other enemies just waiting at the door ready for me. So they eventually started creeping out towards me. So yeah, you'll find those sorts of moments. Heart racing.
Awesome. So you're excited about keep playing it then?
Yes.
Finally, the game least expected is the game that turns Greg on.
Well, I do have a Dark
Maybe you
Soul.
should get Diablo. Well, you definitely do have a Dark Soul. That's true. That is true. But kind of broadly, it's also kind of want to hear about like, do you have any favourite sort of horror themed games or scary games, or your favourite ghost level in Mario or something. Lee, you've not been playing horrifying games, but surely you've got lots of memories.
I got memories of Castlevania 4 on the SNES. That tends to be always...
I wouldn't call it Super Castlevania either.
Super Castlevania, yeah. Super Castlevania 4 on the SNES. And that was probably my first, from what I can remember, Castlevania game. I can't remember originally having Castlevania even on the NES, even though I went back to it. And I did play the Castlevania game, The Adventure, on the Game Boy as well. But I'm sure that the SNES version was the first one I had. And what a game it is. You boys played it?
I was just going to say, just on the Castlevania, The Adventure, did you play the WiiWare version of the remake of it? Rebirth?
No, I didn't. No.
Do you have it?
No, I don't.
Because there's no chance to...
No, there's not. You can't get it. Yeah. So that's it. It's gone, isn't it?
I'm sure they'll re-release all those Rebirth games. They was all really good.
Bring them on the Switch. Yeah, just put them in a bundle.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Castlevania, just phenomenal game, and it was difficult then going back to the other versions after playing what I thought it is a far more action orientated. Castlevania 3 is more of a slight RPG and different routes and all that. But I like that. I like the way the Castlevania 4 progressed its linearity. It was just so linear, but it did it so well. The fact that you could now jump on stairs, I know it was the first time I played it, so when you go back and you oh my god, I can't jump on the stairs, it does feel a step backwards when you go back to the original ones. And enemy placements, the whole game, managed to finish it as well after slogging through it. Many months it took me to finish that. Phenomenal game. And it shows in games like the games I like these days as well, like Tiny Barbarian. Tiny Barbarian is extremely linear, but it's the experience of spot-on platforming and close combat for most of the game. Brilliant. And the atmosphere is perfect for a Halloween game if you've never played it.
Okay, it is a great game. That was my first Castlevania as well. It's a great game. Castlevania is a really good series, actually, isn't it? So annoying those new ones aren't coming to Switch. But that's
my first one was Dawn of Sorrow on the DS, and that's just such an amazing game. Absolutely a great place to jump in. Loved it.
Yeah, all those GBA and DS games were fantastic. Yeah. Absolutely fantastic. I even liked the Lord of Shadow, is it called, on the 3DS?
Never played that one. I think I played the demo. Is that the Mirror one? The Mirror of Fate or whatever it was called?
Yeah, that was the Mirror. Yeah. I think Lord of Shadow was the PS3
one.
That was good as well. I like the PS3 ones. Yeah. The 3D ones.
I played the demo of that one on 3DS as well, and I just did not like it. It just had a mercury steam all over it.
A lot of people don't like it.
I
really enjoyed it.
As did Samus Returns, to be fair. I felt it was soaked in mercury steam.
I do, is that SNES version as well. The SNES, it's more action orientated. I can flick my whip. I can do a bit more. I can understand why you don't like it, Greg. But I was still waiting for a sale on that one on the 3DS, and it never came down in price.
Yeah, it's a good game. I can remember the first ever one I played, and I don't know why I have memories of this. I don't know what my parents were thinking. It was on the Spectrum. It's not Nintendo. Oh, it was meant to be Nintendo, wasn't it? But I was playing Friday the 13th on the Spectrum as a toddler. And I remember that something happens, like a siren or something, and that means that he's coming. Jason's coming. And then I remember just like cacking it and running away every time I heard the siren, and just left the game. Because I can't, I mean, it's obviously 30 odd years ago or whatever, but who always remember that? Like, what a weird game to let me play. As a 4-year-old or whatever. But NES, I mean, obviously, you want to say the obvious ones, Resident Evil 4 and Resident Evil Remake and Eternal Darkness and things like that, and Castlevania, but it's not really a horror game, but I guess it's what I remember is in a game that I was obsessed with as a kid, and I finished this, no exaggeration, 20, 30 times. I mean, my brother used to just play it in one sitting, finish it like, okay, it's Festus Quest, it's called. And I used to be like, should we finish Festus Quest? Yeah, played through it, and we just played it so often. Because as a kid, you didn't have many games, and that was one of the few games we had. And it's probably awful, but I loved it as a kid. But it's quite horror-y, but it becomes a bit like aliens turn up and stuff like that. It's a bit weird, but that's kind of one of my earliest memories of Nintendo horror-type games is Addams Family, Festus Quest. Have any of you ever played that?
No.
Obviously it's NES. You two are NES haters, aren't you? Keep forgetting. What a game. Hopefully it'll come to the NES Online. What about you, Greg?
What's your striking Nintendo horror memories?
Well, there's a few of the House of the Dead games on Wii. I'd never played those before, so I picked up House of the Dead 2 and 3 Returns. They're great for a wee blast around this time of year. And obviously good for 2 players or whatever. And Overkill's really good as well. It's
great,
fantastic game, that one.
Yeah. Well, fantastic in terms of the theme and stuff. The actual gunplay and stuff, there's quite a bit of slowdown in Overkill. If you go back to you'll maybe notice it as well. It's sometimes it doesn't feel entirely satisfying to shoot. There might be a delay, or your shot just won't fire off at all. Also on the way, Silent Hill Shattered Memories is probably one of my favourite. It's not particularly scary as such, although you go through obviously. You'll know you've played it. You go through there's no danger, there's no combat or anything. You're just maybe solving puzzles, trying to go forward, and then all of a sudden everything will the ice or whatever will just start closing in, and everything just turns like that, and things will be chasing you, and you have to run and try and find sort of your way through. So this, I suppose, it's a wee bit scary in that way. But I absolutely love that game. Played through it a couple of times and watched my wife play through it once as well. She really enjoyed it too. And then obviously you mentioned Resident Evil Remake and Resident Evil 4, Eternal Darkness, brilliant. But there's also games that aren't really horror themed that they give me Halloween vibes. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3. There's a sort of autumny sort of level. There's an autumny sort of level. I don't know if you just played Suburbia.
Yeah.
Lots of leaves and stuff, and there's pumpkins and stuff you have to smash or whatever.
I was just going to ask, are there pumpkins in it? And there are. There you go.
Just playing that and having Alien Ant Farm playing on the soundtrack or whatever. It just, for some reason, that's just embodies Halloween for me for some reason. And also 1080 snowboarding on the Nintendo 64. That was a game I was in town when I was younger.
That is horrifying. I agree.
I was in town and it was mentioned earlier about the wee boxes of fireworks we used to buy. We're in town getting those with my family, obviously. I was always too young to buy fireworks myself. But that day I was also in game, and they had a pre-owned 1080 snowboarding. Picked that up that same day, so was playing that around that time. That's a Halloween game for me.
How bizarre. Because Zombie Ate Your Neighbours, that's another great Halloweeny game. There's a game which isn't Halloweeny or horror, but it's a game that I found really sort of creepy and unsettling, and it has come out on the Switch now. I played it on Mac. It's called Gone Home. Have you heard about that? The walking simulator.
Yeah.
And it was basically what it is. You play this university girl and you go home and the house is empty, and you walk around the house, and this sort of a story develops as it happens. But I found it really, really sort of unsettling and kind of creepy, and you can't do anything. You're just literally walking around looking at things and kind of not knowing it's got a very unsettling, creepy mood, and you're going into rooms and you're not quite sure what's going to happen, and it's the atmosphere of it all it was kind of genuinely creepy. What about you, Lee? Have you got any others?
Yeah, there was a game on Wii U I reviewed, and it was called Lone Survivor. It was a 2D scrolling back and forth. It was like a pixel art, but it had this element of, is this actually happening, or is this happening in the protagonist's head? Because to keep this kind of insane world focused, you had to take meds, and you got hungry very quickly, and there were elements of these monsters. Were they monsters? Were they real people? Have I just killed someone that could be a real person? Ethel down the hallway, have I just clubbed her to death? The elements of baiting these monsters and hiding in the shadows as they pass and then coming out. It also reminded me then of Detention, where Detention was you had to bait certain ghosts in the beginning. There was an element of horror, and then that lost it at the end. But Lone Survivor tended to keep that horror all the way through to the end of the game, and there's different endings to it as well. That was I enjoyed that game to a point. Good for Halloween, definitely.
Yeah, I played that as well.
Yeah, you enjoy it?
Yeah, I thought it was a good game. I liked it. Not amazing or anything, but yeah, it's good atmosphere to it.
Yeah, there was. Another light gun game which I played on the Wii was Dead Space Extraction. We never saw the Dead Space games, the full Dead Space games coming, because reasons are that we can't handle it. But Extraction came out, and it had a very dark, well, the same atmosphere as the original Dead Space game. Very creepy in parts. Ended up being maybe a bit too shooter-esque and less horror, but still had enough horror elements to scare you at times.
The Dead Space games on the PlayStation were amazing. The first two. The third one was an abomination, but the first one in particular was an Alien Isolation on the PlayStation. If we're going to go to other console, there's loads more. But
I played Dead Space Extraction very briefly, and my lasting impression of it was like, the only thing I really remember of it was like whenever you're picking up items, is there not like a big thing that sort of like shoots out from you or something?
Oh, I can't remember.
It's this big thing that sort of goes out just and grabs the items.
I can't
like
remember.
a big beam of light or something. That's all I really remember about it.
it's a good game. It's a really good game.
It was one of the first games on the Wii as well that you could start decapitating and chopping arms off. You know, it had this full, where context shot sensitive hits. So I could just, you could take someone's leg out and then take the second leg out and they'd be crawling towards you.
Did any of you play Manhunt 2 that came out? Can you remember the controversy of Manhunt?
I remember the controversy, never played it.
I've seen that game
crap.
Countless times in CX for like only a few quid, and like I thought about picking it up so many times and it just never seemed like the right time, and I sort of know myself that it's probably not going to be that good of a game, so
It's not good. It's worth it for the comedy. Like obviously the controversy is like decapitating people where you're literally getting two controllers and you're going to go
pretty sick.
It's comedy. It's comedy, but it is good. But that's awesome. That's as always. I have fun. Oh, hang on, hold on.
I was just gonna say one more bonus,
Just one more
horror
thing.
question for us.
Come on, Columbo.
What game has this phrase in it? The boy has said a picadillo. It probably doesn't sound exactly like that.
Say it again.
Do it again.
The boy has said a picadillo.
Boy, it's a picadillo. He's a Mexican. Yes, guacamole. I don't know.
It's not Mexican. It's just my pronunciation. Are you searching for it, Darren?
No, yeah, I was gonna. I was thinking Resident Evil 4.
Yep, correct.
Oh, who says that?
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah.
It's just whenever the ganados or whatever they're called, they're sort of like hobbling around,
Yeah.
like, coming after you, and they just shout like, "Look, he's over there," let's go get him. I'm not sure what the phrase
Awesome.
means.
Well, on that note, see you all next week. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Nintendo Review Podcast. You can find this very podcast on SoundCloud, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, TuneIn, and YouTube. Just search for the Nintendo Review Podcast. Don't forget to give us a review and ask us a question. We are also on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, where you'll find great content such as news, reviews, and streams. Of course, you'll find us at nintendoreview.co.uk. And check out our Nintendo Review Discord channel for lively discussion, meetups, and in-game voice chat. Drop by and say hello. Podcast Extras! Extras! Podcast Extras! Extras!
Yawn. Boo-tato.
Doom the new dooms. Doom the new dooms. Doom the new dooms.
Boo-tato.
Ooh, Greg is frozen.
Well, we can't go an episode without you needing to do loads of editing, can we?
Yeah, let's carry on. See if he jumps back in.
Can't remember where I was going with that.
Right, what happened there? What did you do after I cut out?
We had a chat about when the hell is Greg coming back.
Boo-tato. Thankfully, I was able to recover the audio. Boo-tato.
Sorry about that.
Boo-tato. Sorry about that.